Amy.
Hey, Jack.
I'm gay.
Oh my god, that is so funny. I'm also gay. I was going to tell you.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
And you're listening to Dating Straight. Hey, Amy.
Hey, Jack. Hey, Peppermint.
Hey, Peppermint.
Hey, Amy and Jack and Amy.
Peppermint.
How are you?
I'm fabulous.
As always.
You look fabulous. Look at your hair.
Oh,
It's blowing. It is.
Just natural.
Yeah, do you have a little fan going even?
Nothing. I don't even have lights on. I don't even have clothes on. It's just how I look.
Damn. So Peppermint, for those who don't know, which I feel like all of our listeners definitely know you, who are you?
I'm Peppermint, a citizen of the world.
Oh.
Amen.
Well, good.
That is beautiful. We will learn more about Peppermint in today's episode. But before we begin, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Rate 5 stars on the podcast app. We love your reviews. And also check out our Patreon, where we make new episodes, live streams, and newsletters every month. I almost get it perfectly every time, and I can't remember it. But thank you. Okay, so Peppermint, usually what we do to start off each episode is we talk about a little catch up that's happening in our lives, and just what's been going on the last week. So Amy, do you want to take it away?
Well, I guess this hasn't happened like in the past week. It's been kind of a slow burn, but I looked around and I realized that I am the only single friend that I have. I mean, Jack, you're single and I love you for it, but you live in New York and I'm in Los Angeles. So I just mean, like, out of the people that I hang out with, I am always the 7th, 5th, 3rd wheel, always. So I don't know what to do with this information. I don't know. Do I need to change this?
You need to sit with it and get a bottle of wine and just sit with it.
Just really look into myself and see why. I mean, I don't know why I've made these choices. Wasn't it really a choice? It happened to me.
Yes, that's the ticket.
Yeah. The pain.
Well, are you when you're saying your choices, are you talking about your choices to be single or your choices to be friends with people who are not?
I wasn't talking about my choice to be single.
Or your choices in women. Your choices in who you date.
There's, I'm just so...
All of it.
Yeah, there's...
choices.
Yeah, all of my choices have led me here. And I guess, like, I don't want to date anyway. And we're in a pandemic as well. So I just need new friends is all I'm saying, I
guess. You know what?
Bye.
Change. If it ain't working for you, change your environment.
Okay, so I'll try that and let you guys know how it goes.
Okay.
Jack?
My catch up is that, so I was seeing this guy. I just moved to New York, Peppermint.
Welcome, just in time.
Wait, are you here?
Yeah, I'm in New York. I've been in New York. Oh my God, you didn't, I'm like a statue. You didn't pass me on the way in.
Lady Liberty, yes. You're like, no, but I was seeing this guy in San Diego, where I'm originally from, and we have been talking a lot. And I know that this is like,
wait, long distance? Or you were seeing him before you moved to New York?
Yeah, well, we were seeing each other before I moved, but like we're not official or anything. But he sent me a postcard where he like called me baby boy, and he like he was like just thinking of you, and it was so nice. It was honestly, it's crazy that this was the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me, like a boy. Is just send me a postcard. It was like so pure and nice. And now what the heck? But now I'm in New York.
Jack, I need to send you a postcard.
Yeah. First of all, let's get that reminds me. Oh my God. you totally remind me. I have to send a postcard. I can't believe you just reminded me to send postcard. Oh my God. I can't believe you just
I should
reminded me.
write this down too.
Okay. Excuse me, that was rude, but I needed to make a note. I can't believe it's so bizarre. In addition, first of all, I have a question. Was it actually a postcard? Like that everyone could read? From the other side?
Everyone.
Like a postcard,
Yeah.
postcard, it's not in an envelope.
Yeah. No, it was just a postcard. I mean, yeah, I guess the USPS could have read it, but like
public declaration.
I'll let them.
Yeah. I love it. It's a great
thing.
I think that's fabulous. I'm jealous that you got a postcard.
Thank you. I can send you one if you want to.
I'd love that. But listen, you know what I have to tell you? Don't make the same mistake I did. Get that boy. Make him yours. Get him to New York City. Listen.
Oh my God.
You've made a mistake like that? Like a long distance mistake?
I made the mistake that a long distance relationship it started out local and then I moved. And then I made the mistake that the long distance relationship, assuming that it would just grow with me and follow with me and we would be, we'll be together for years long distance. And then when we're ready, no. Then he ended up finding somebody else. And so, I mean, all things, what's meant to be will be, but make big moves.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that was my question was going to be, what should I do? And I guess
that's what I said.
Big moves.
But I'm also single, so.
Well, would the big move...
We all are.
Yeah, we are. So. Would the big move be going back to San Diego? Like, where did you leave this man from to go to? You moved to New York? Yeah.
Mine was not in San Diego. It was in San Francisco. And I lived in San Francisco short term while I was working. And then I met him there. We dated for several months. And then I moved back home. And he came and visited me. We went back and forth and visited. But at the moment at which other like cis hetero people seem to be like moving in and getting married, we were like starting to break up. And I was like, oh, this is weird. Let's try to, and he was like, well, you live across the country. And so I would have moved. It was in my brain. And when he was talking about moving here, I was like, oh, you silly, you got time, and I should have like just go with it. Just go with it. You'll figure it out later.
I will go with it.
I'll follow my heart. I
want to know, baby.
But
does he listen to this
time
show?
Will tell. He listens sometimes, but I mean, I'm very open with him. We talk very communicatively about like everything. Like, so
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not worried. Like, we know that this is confusing, and it is. So, why not talk about it instead of just like pretending everything's normal? But, Peppermint.
Yes.
So what is new in your world? I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is the album, but if you have something else you want to get off your chest, please do.
Well, no, I was just thinking about everything, I mean, this, I don't know when this airs or when do you all upload
October, mid-October.
Okay. Yeah. So it's been the biggest thing on so I just got back from Los Angeles. I had a fabulous photo shoot. I just filmed a music video with someone who's also featured on my album Late. Now, last month, in the middle to the end of September, it was a really tough time because of, I was just really focused on what to do about trying to flip the Senate and news about RBG and the action in Louisville, Kentucky with Breonna Taylor was really devastating to me and shook me up on the evening of September 23rd in particular. I was so upset that night. And the next day, I, was really able to kind of organize my thoughts and everything. But I'm very dedicated to figuring out how we can get through this moment and flip that Senate, dismantle racism and misogyny and homophobia and transphobia, and try to release an album while doing it, which also deals with all of those things. So I feel kind of good. If my album was like, look at my, pink toenail polish, then it would have been, I would have been like, let's put this on the shelf. But since it is actually about all of these issues, then it feels like it's the right time,
Yeah. Honestly, what is going on in America right now is shocking. Like it is. I mean, I'm from Australia and it's just, it blows my mind. I'm like getting sweaty thinking about it.
It blows mine too. And I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, it's shocking, but it's also like, I feel like
a reflection of who's in power.
Well, and just a reflection of like America's history.
Yeah.
We have, of course, obviously a racist history. We have, so it shouldn't be so surprising, but it's so surprising, I think, that it's in the spotlight so glaringly,
It's so obvious. It's so obvious. Yeah. It's like, what?
It's insane.
Yeah.
I know. And now, okay, side note, sorry, but like, did you guys see the clip of Trump being like,
I might
if you
not.
lose, will you peacefully hand over power?
I gotta eat more of these noodles.
God, are we kidding?
Yes, honey. It's like he's not only are we reading the tea leaves, he's bringing in a whole new brand of tea and doing it in front of our face. And it's like, gosh, it's almost like we are allowing him to test and float the idea so that we subconsciously get comfortable with the fact that we know he's not going to leave office. And that is my worst nightmare. I mean,
it's scary
that he won't leave. Like right now, it looks as though he has been, at least according to September, right? He is making plans to circumvent the system by way of the delegates and the electorate. Yeah, and the Supreme Court, but the electorate, so they can just basically put people in power who will make the decisions in every single state that's up for grabs state. An electorate that will say, okay, we know that, let's say Pennsylvania voted for Joe Biden, but the electoral college and the delegate and the person that's in charge there will be like, no, we're not, it's not going to Joe Biden. They can just choose.
Yeah.
And so what is this system? The flaws in this system are so, what are we doing?
Obvious. Yeah, no, really. I mean, it's crazy that like I don't know, America's viewed as like this great democratic experience, but it's really not democratic at all. I mean, it's to me feels very much like an oligarchy where there's like very few people in power and they're just controlling everything. And it's hard to feel like you have, I mean, I'm not saying like, don't, fight for our fucking lives, but like, it's easy to feel like we can't do anything when the president is literally like, even if he loses, what if he doesn't leave?
It does feel like any outcome that comes in November is just pointless because then that's gonna, I mean, even if Joe Biden does win, there's gonna be a bunch of very scary, angry people. So.
Well, anyway, that's not what our episode is about today.
That's what's new with me.
No, I mean, we actually wanted to talk about that, and that was on our agenda. But so I'm glad that you brought it up, and we're happy to talk about it because some people aren't always as interested in talking about it, but I think it's important. Okay, so before we continue on, we just want to give a little thank you to our sponsors.
Thank you so much, Each and Every, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast.
Woohoo! Each and Every's gender-inclusive deodorant is formulated for sensitive skin, made without aluminum, parabens, baking soda, alcohol, and synthetic fragrances. All that stuff we don't want. With just 6 simple ingredients, plus essential oils, Each and Every uses natural ingredients like coconut oil and Dead Sea salt that work together to reduce body odor. And in fact, Each and Every has been found to provide odor protection equal to an antiperspirant without the aluminum.
Each and Every was founded by 2 women in the beauty industry who were frustrated by the lack of high quality, healthy deodorant options. One of the founders holds a PhD in molecular and developmental biology. So she really knows what your pits need. And she really, really does. Like I use Each and Every and it's so good. It goes on silky smooth and keeps you odor-free all day. Plus, it's vegan and cruelty-free, which is obviously very important to me.
Yeah, and you can try it risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. So there is no risk, honey.
No reason. Yeah, no reason not to try it. And truly, it is the deodorant that I use now. Like, it's so good. It smells so good. It goes on smooth. It has the scents from essential oils. I use the like vanilla bean one and I get compliments. Literally. People are like, you smell really good. And I'm like, thank you. It's must be from my deodorant.
So if that doesn't get you wanting Each and Every, I don't know what will. Visit eachandevery.com/dating. That's eachandevery.com/dating and use promo code dating for 30% off your first purchase. That is not eligible to combine with other subscriptions or discounts. So use ours. And one more time, that is promo code dating at eachandevery.com/dating.
Very cool. Also, thank you so much, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. So there is something interfering with all of our happiness right now. Mine personally is not being able to go outside in Los Angeles anymore because of poor air quality. So BetterHelp is super important, especially now. It'll assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. It is not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online.
Yeah. And what's great about it is that it has a variety of expertises their therapists do. So if you need a certain, expertise that's not locally available in your area, this is a perfect place to get it. Also, it is available worldwide. So it's for you. And also you can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor and you can get like timely, thoughtful responses. And you can also schedule weekly video or phone sessions. So you won't ever have to sit in like an uncomfortable waiting room because I know I get nervous. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating good matches. So it's easy and free to change if you guys don't vibe. And it's more affordable than traditional online therapy, offline. And it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. So make sure to visit BetterHelp because it wants you to start living happier today. Visit betterhelp.com/dating. That is better, HELP, and join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. So get on it. Special offer to Dating Straight listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/dating.
Thanks, BetterHelp.
Before we get into like the meat of your album and what's that about, we kind of want to start at like the beginning of Peppermint and, walk us through how you got to where you are now. So we were hoping to talk about like your professional journey first. I know a lot of people know you from Drag Race. So can you just explain like what you were doing before Drag Race and how did you get into, that industry?
Absolutely. Before Drag Race, what was I doing? I was doing drag the day before. Well, I moved to New York City to go to acting school as a little baby. And I went to acting school and graduated years and years and years ago in literally a different millennia. And I started working in the clubs in New York City, and New York City club life is legendary, and lots of people had heard of it. And so I was in the clubs with all of the fiercest queens and people, New York celebutantes and all that. And it was great. It was a really rambunctious time. People were doing all kinds of stuff that, like, I know is definitely illegal today, but but it was fun back then. And so that was really what most of my, and all the while I was sort of building up more of a drag career, I guess you could say. And I was meeting folks. I was starting to travel a little bit. Eventually I started traveling internationally. My first place to travel to was the UK, and then to Australia.
No way.
Yeah. And that was in 2008.
Where in Australia did you go?
Well, my first trip to Australia was to Sydney for Mardi Gras.
Oh my God.
And I went there
I wonder if I was there, literally.
It would have been 2008,
Mardi Gras
9,
2008.
and 10.
Oh, I was definitely there at some point.
I was there performing.
Wasted. Cool.
Yeah. And so that was, and it was beautiful. It was a wonderful, I actually went with an indigenous group, an LGBTQ indigenous group that was called the House of Black Star. And they had gotten funding from the government to bring in some performers. And so my first trip over was with The Ones, who are a legendary nightclub group. Anybody that knows the song Flawless, Absolutely Flawless, you've heard it before, that's them. And this year we lost Nasham Wooden, aka Mona Foot, who was a part of the group. Anyway, so we went together and we had our little like mini micro tour in Sydney for Mardi Gras. That was fun. Anyway, so that was my early years. I can't say the early years of drag, but like the height of my career. And then that all kind of started to change because at one point, just being from New York City, it was possible to have a career as a working, traveling drag entertainer and not be on Drag Race because Drag Race hadn't existed. And then eventually, once Drag Race did become a hit, a few seasons in, then the well started to dry up. And that's when I said, let me go and work and audition for Drag Race.
And you auditioned for Drag Race season 9, or did you audition before that as well?
I auditioned before season 9. I auditioned for season 7, 8, and 9, and obviously got on at 9.
Totally. What's that experience like?
Auditioning?
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It's basically you do everything that you have to do on the show on a videotape. And so like all the challenges and all of those things and a lot of the acting challenges and different things you have to do, Snatch Game. And you have to put it on a tape and then send it to them. And so that's really it. And then you spend the rest of your summer basically hoping that they looked at it. And then obviously if they do, and then they'll call you and say you're in the running. And then there's a couple more things like paperwork and stuff you got to fill out and things you got to do. And then they say whether you're on. Here's your ticket. And then it's a mad rush.
Intimidating. Yeah. Was it like kind of intimidating or?
Is it intimidating?
Yeah.
Auditioning, the audition process?
Well, or just like when you do get on.
Yeah, I mean, it was not as much, for me, it wasn't as much intimidating as it was, I was suspicious and wary of everything. Because I didn't know where the gameplay of the show began and the, stress of life ended. I know that it actually is because while I was packing to go to the show, I've told this story before, I was binge watching, I think it's called Get Real. It's a scripted show about a reality show where...
Oh, Unreal?
Unreal, not Get Real. Unreal,
yeah.
Yes, with my girl, Constance Zimmer, who I have to send the postcard to.
Comes full circle.
That's the connection. Anyway, and so I was watching Unreal, which is the worst thing anyone can watch before they go to a reality show, because it's like all about the show Unreal. They're like doing, it's like the fake behind the scenes of The Bachelor, and they're like dastardly and how they're like, manipulating people and being really, shady and conniving and all that stuff. And so I'm like, oh my God, that's what I'm going to drag queens. This is going to be worse. And so that's what I was thinking. So when they got there and they're like, oh, we can't find your key to your room, I was like, oh no.
It's begun.
And so that's what I was like. They were like, oh, everyone wait except for Peppermint. Like weird things like that. I'm like, what's going on? So I was mostly in my head about all that stuff. But I wasn't intimidated necessarily. I was really excited to do it. A lot of the stuff was, all the feelings that I had about it kind of went out the window. Our first big challenge, which was on our season, was a cheerleading episode, which was not one day. It was actually about 4 or 5 days of preparing, learning the routine,
Oh my
shooting,
God.
throwing each other up in the air. Girls got hurt. One girl cracked her ribs. Another girl, like 5 of us sprained our ankles. This was like the first few days of us being there.
Wow.
They had medics coming on. The one guy with the medic, didn't have anything because all he has is Band-Aids. And everybody was like, they were
great
like,
medic.
Yeah, they had to bring in like crutches and wheelchairs. It was like that serious.
Wow.
Eureka was actually on crutches and in a wheelchair. They would wheel her to the thing, and then she would get crutches to walk onto stage. And it was like, what kind of crazy? You never do that again, Drag Race. Do not be having drag queens throwing each other. Like, we were doing real physical, like throwing each other up in the air. It was terrifying.
No.
Anyway, that was my experience. But it was good. I'm glad I did it.
Not only that, but you were the first out trans person on Drag Race, I believe. Can you tell us about, what that was like? Did you feel any pressure or anything like that?
I was allegedly the first out trans woman to be cast on the show. And that's kind of a distinction, because we want to pay homage and recognize the absolutely trailblazing steps of Sonique, who came out in her reunion show, and then Monica Beverly Hills, who came out during the season on her episode, which she got eliminated from.
True.
And so I don't really know their experience, but based on what happened, based on what I've seen and know about the show, and my experience, is that I was out in 2012. I came out in 2012. And so I wasn't famous, but I came out in 2012. And so me coming out on the episode was really more of me disclosing to this room of people in the room that I didn't know. Y'all know what it's like to come out. And so that was basically what it was for me. And I didn't have a lot of conversation with the producers beforehand, because I was like all in my head about like if they were going to try to like push me out a window. Right. But once things got more settled, the producers actually did say, we of course we knew, because I came out, I was out of the closet. I was talking about my transness on my social media and posting things. And I was on national television on The Daily Show in April of 2016, which is before I even auditioned. And so all that was on my social media, and the producers knew. They said, yeah, of course we knew, but we were waiting for you to kind of bring it to life on camera. Anyway, so that's that, because there are some Drag Race super fans who are like, what's going on there? But yeah, that was a big, I guess, a moment for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be out.
Absolutely. On the national stage too, or international stage. Like that's, turns you into like an icon kind of. So you, that's kind of your, I don't know, professional journey, I would suppose, also intermixed with your personal journey as well. And, like you said, we all have come out, but coming out as trans must be, you know, I don't know. Would you think it's more difficult than coming out as gay? And how was that journey for you?
I don't know if it was more difficult. It was definitely different. But a lot of that's probably attributed to when I came out, like as an adult again. And so for a lot of trans people who are currently adults, many of the ones that I know, we've come out twice, right? And so the first time I came out as liking boys, the second time I came out as trans. And so I think maybe there's some people who come out in stages, maybe some people come out in different ways beforehand. But at the end of the day, it was, it wasn't necessarily the actual coming out that was the most difficult, even though it was terrifying. And I remember being like just utterly terrified. And I had anxiety. I had an anxiety attack, which I'd never had, and I haven't had since.
Wow.
One day when I was like, more coming to terms for myself and like leaving the house, and like I was like afraid to leave the house. It was insane. It was a lot, but I think that's nothing in comparison to like the new life that I kind of brought myself to, which I'm very happy to have done. But like, operating in this world as a trans individual in America, especially a trans person of color, is not necessarily the easiest thing.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so that's that. I'd come out a million more times if that's all I had to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know also we have had Gia and we've had Laganja on our show before.
Mm-hmm.
And they both face similar challenges, I think, or they both face challenges. I wonder if you've faced the same ones from having all of this personal information about yourself being on this huge spotlight. And did you have any struggles with that? Like when, your likeness is, kind of public knowledge now?
Not, I don't really know like to what end, but for those two, but my coming out was, like I said, it was prior to Drag Race. So at least, even though physically some people would say, oh, there's a difference, or like a before and after or whatever, it was still like the same person, the same personality, the same embodiment. And so for me, anything that people have access to, it isn't really that damaging, in terms of like in terms of me seeing myself like pre-medical transition or information that's out there. And, I led the life this pretty much the same life that I'm living now, except on a bigger scale,
Mm-hmm.
now on a bigger scale. And so I was out even before I like officially come out, starting my medical transition. I led the life of this woman, Peppermint, since 2000. And so my like moments that I wish to not have on film and television or on camera or proof of they predate this era that we're in, like
Right.
all that stuff it wasn't captured on film, and so I feel really fortunate for that,
Good.
So no.
Good. Great. That's the best answer. And then obviously our show is about dating. And
Mm-hmm.
now that you have been catapulted onto this world stage and like probably so many people in the community know who you are, does that change the dating world for you?
I think it does, but it's more like in my head, right? Because, well, not only in my head, but it definitely is like the things that I'm bringing. It changes how I present, how I'm having been on a TV show. Like that's a thing you want to, like if you're on a first date and someone comes up and asks for like a picture or an autograph or
Mhm.
Oh my
calls
God.
you by your stage name or screaming across the street, oh my God, it's, you know, you kind of have to figure out how you're going to explain that. So you either try to go to places where you know that's not going to happen, or, you know, and I don't necessarily like swipe left and be like, check me out on Drag Race. Like, I don't do that because I don't even know who this person is, right? And so I want to try to just get to know each other for each other and then disclose all that stuff. So that has been kind of tough. The loss of anonymity has been tough, but that's what we sign up for. The dating world, interestingly enough, it's like, at least for being trans, it's like this. I'm bringing a certain level of like secrecy, which could be potentially viewed as negative energy, but it's because I'm being a little cagey and protective about my public persona.
Mhm.
I'm bringing that, and I think that a potential date can sense that when I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I just work in business. You know, like I don't really say what I do. But by the same token, a lot of these folks that are into dating trans, at least the men that I've been in contact with, are also bringing us a certain level of caginess and secrecy. Some of them we don't know, like we're on a date, but like, oh, are you married? What's happening? Like, you know, you don't know really. It turns out the name they gave you isn't the real one. I can't really attack them because I have a stage name too, and so it's really bizarre, I think, dating while trans. Dating while queer is very particular, and dating while trans is like, what? What?
Yeah, I could imagine. And also, I know that if we relate this back to your um, album that is coming out, I know that in your press junket, your cover of Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, you talk a lot about that, about, you know, the fear of being like seen in public with a trans woman or dating a trans woman.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean those themes are all throughout the album. They're my experiences, and it's a love album, and so my experience with actually being like single and dating is in there too. Everything from you know, quote unquote fuck boys and like hookup culture to that's the song Best Sex, the single that came out in September, or end of September, is it's dedicated to the fuckboys of the world.
Oh, I know of them.
And hello. Yeah, I met a few of them, honey. And so, you know, that is a thing. Especially, I think if you're like young and queer and live in a big city, not that queer people are the only people who are like entrenched in hookup culture, but if you're young and queer and live in the city, you are definitely acquainted with the hookup culture. And so that's a thing. And then Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow is more about, I mean, my retelling of the song is more, it resonates for me more with the like, we had a great one night stand and all signs are pointing to yes, but I'm still kind of like skeptical because of all the fuckboys that I've had in this very spot. And so, you know, you never know, like, is this like too good to be true? Oh my God, like this has been a great date. It was only supposed to be a couple of hours. It's been overnight and the sun is coming up. What's happening? Are you just going to disappear? Like all of those questions that run through your head. So that's more like Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow? And there's other songs on the album that have some other issues that they deal with.
I would like to know what it is that you do to, you know, keep the fuckboys at bay, because I have had a problem with that in the past.
I have an addiction to them.
No, you guys are terrible.
It's the worst, I know. And the problem is, it's not like, I mean, not that I was dating in the 80s or 90s, but the problem, I think, is that, at least I think, I would like to think, and I could be wrong, maybe I'm wrong, and hopefully I'm wrong. But it seems as though
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Okay. The gigolos of the past, like the fuckboys of today would have been like the people that we would have called gigolos in the past. And those people, the womanizers and the player haters, the players, whatever, I think their game was more like straightforward. They're like, hey, baby, I'm going to give you a good night. I can't give you anything else, but I'm going to give you a good night. Okay, great. And now I know what I'm in for. There are fuckboys that come in all types of disguises these days that are like, hey, you look like the woman of my dreams. I'm going to bake you a cake. Can I come over?
Oh.
And you're like, wait a minute. What's happening here? And then, of course, they turn out to be another doozy. And so I think that's what's really tough. You know, me and my girlfriends, I don't know if y'all have had this, but me and my girlfriends, we end up hooking up with the same person all the time. And I'm like, here's this one. We just met last night. He said I was going to mention her. And then we show, I got a date with him tonight. He's on his way over here now.
No.
You know, it happens all the time. Yes.
Whoa. Wow.
Damn. Yeah.
I think lesbians must be different.
I hope so. I need to become a lesbian, honey. Not that it's that easy, but like,
try it.
I need to do something because this ain't getting it, honey. This is not getting it.
Very nice. I mean, yeah, fuckboys, they are an addiction, but I think we just have to, I don't know, treat them like
they're fuckboys. But
like
they like however you treat them, they like it.
I know. It's a lifelong journey, I think, you know, getting over them. But
it really is, darling. So my song Best Sex really at least turns on the lights and says, hey y'all, look at this behavior. You know? Because I haven't really heard it like a queer person singing about that.
Me either.
Yeah, and so it's basically like you don't have a lot going for you, but you do have the best sex. And yeah.
someone's gotta give it, you know, I guess.
Yeah.
Can you explain like what a couple of the other songs are about, if they're about love and dating? Because that's what our show's about.
Well, essentially the whole album is basically my personal diary set to music. Which includes my dating life and the time that I was in a relationship. And so it basically covers a year of my diary entries. And so the first EP, the first album rather, because it's 10 tracks, is the beginning of the relationship. And then the next EP will be the middle, and then the final one will be the end of the relationship.
Ooh.
And it all covers about a year. And so the beginning is all about sex and romance, right? And all the sweet stuff. Getting to know each other, the dating and all of that. And so another song that I really love on the album is called Chosen One. And it's all about being that moment where your relationship sort of goes public. And because I think what we all want, regardless of how we identify, is our partner, the person that we're dating or seeing, to be proud enough to show us off to everyone that they know. And that's an important thing, I think. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that I think a lot of queer people, it doesn't come as easily for people who are queer but not out. I think when we're queer and we're dating someone who's not out, I think that secrecy can come in, and not being able to be public with your relationship obviously can be a strain on the relationship. And certainly for trans people, because I think dating a trans person is still seen as unusual or some sort of like a taboo, or it's stigmatized in many ways. And so me having a public relationship, although I've had several relationships, most of them have not been public. Most of them have been a secret, not by my choosing.
Right.
And the last one was, and I finally got a chance to experience, wow, like very early on, he was like, hey, I'm going out with my friends. You want to join us? What? And that felt great. I was so excited. I was so happy. And so I wrote a song about that. It's called The Chosen One, you know?
Very nice.
Well, as a person who's like has a big social media platform, how is it for you to decipher who you want to share on your platform versus not?
I've decided in my head that is going to come when the person I believe is worthy. Because I don't want to put one of those fuckboys on the thing, and then people are
No,
like,
absolutely
"Oh,
not.
and
No, heavens no.
and so they need to be the type of person that will be just worthy of that type of attention. And not that I'm like some gift. I'm not God's gift to the people to men or anybody, but I want to make sure that it's just like another side of me that's vulnerable, and I want to protect that. And I think in order to access that, they need to be able to treat me in a way that is worthy of that. And so few have done it. I could have gone public with my last relationship with this guy, but I could have. And that was maybe I needed to figure out like what it actually was first. And it came close. I was in love and all that, but we didn't really, if we'd still been together, I definitely would have gone public by now. Let's just
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
All right. Should we get into some advice questions real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I can read the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't even know where to start, so let's set the scene. I'm 23 years old and I'm married to a man, and we've been together for 8 years. Because we got together so young, he's the only person I've ever been with, which never really used to bother me until about 4 years ago when I realized I wasn't straight and actually was really fucking attracted to girls. I told him I was bi, and he was the first person I told, and he was great about it. I think he said, duh, so he wasn't like that shook by it. Since then, I've become far more comfortable with myself and my attraction to women. Now I'm at the point where I'm just not attracted to men at all, and I think I could be fully gay, which is a problem because, the married thing. It's not like I can even experiment with a girl. I've told him that I've been struggling with it in the past and asked for a free pass. He said no, which he's totally in the right to do. He said even a 3-way is off the table because he thinks I'll leave him once I experience what it's like to be with a woman.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So is it a red flag when your husband thinks you might be lesbian? Yikes. I don't know what to do. I'm not a cheat, so that's not an option. It sucks because he's my best friend and the last person in the world I'd want to hurt. I even told my mom what's going on, and she said I wouldn't find someone who loved me as much as he does, and there are more important things in a relationship than sex. So what should I do? Damn.
That is a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, crickets. Get divorced. No, just kidding.
I mean, if you think you're a lesbian and he thinks you're a lesbian too, then and if he doesn't want to have even a 3-way because he's afraid that you'll leave him for a woman,
you gotta experience. You can't suppress your
be yourself.
You can't.
Yeah.
So I would ask again. I would be like, listen, dude, I need to experience this, and like I have to, and I need your support, or if not, fair warning.
Yeah. But then that's like giving an ultimatum for a threesome.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Threesome. I don't think a threesome is what it needs to be. I don't think
either.
so.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't think so either.
I think, if you are able to find someone who you maybe talking about being open, it's fair, but I think what's good for the goose is what's good for the gander. And so even though it sounds like the husband doesn't want to do this, but I would imagine the next step, but you can either break up or stay together. And if you but either way, you're going to have to figure out and sort out your feelings and attractions to women. And it sounds like you want to have an sexual experience with a woman. And so it sounds like the next best thing, aside from we're not doing a threesome, is probably just being open in the relationship and allowing him to also go outside of the relationship.
True.
That sounds like a whole can of worms I don't want to be looking at, but
you should read him this email that you sent us.
That would be,
and let him come to his own conclusions.
Yeah. Maybe that's fair. Maybe because you can be gay and not out having sex with women. And so maybe what's gracious in this situation is to allow him the choice of what to do next, at least in the time being. Does he want to stay together, or will he come to the conclusion, like which of those he wants to do, which would feel like it gives him some power, and maybe he'll not feel powerless in the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Go to
advice.
therapy is my final advice. Okay. I usually like to read the shorter ones, so I'll go next if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Okay. Hi, Jack, Amy, and guest. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm 17 now, but I came out when I was 15. I told my conservative Christian mother that I was a lesbian. Since she believes that you should love your child no matter what, she accepted me and didn't care one bit. Great. After saying the words, I'm a lesbian, the first thing that she said was, "You're not trans, right? But here's the issue. I think I might be non-binary. What should I do?"
Heavy.
That's a terrible thing to say to your child. Yeah. You gotta let your kid be.
I've heard it. Not from my mom, but I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I don't.
I think you should wear that shirt and say, "Look, bitch, I'm just." I mean, first of
If
all,
she believes already that you should love your child no matter what, then it's
a done deal. It should
maybe
be.
you're in the clear. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard.
I don't know. I do think that it is really difficult, but the bottom line is the family is you can't necessarily base what's going to happen in the future on what your mom said when you came out, because they're all going to change. They're all going to come around. Look, whoever needs to adjust will adjust. And if they're not going to adjust, then they don't need to be in your life. And that's what I say. So
absolutely.
if you're non-binary, I think, maybe try, if you're worried about the reaction of your mom, maybe try experimenting with different types of fashion and expressions and new friends to come around, and watching certain, I don't know, movies or reading certain books and leaving them around that will clue your mom in. If you want to be kind of gentle about it, maybe. But otherwise, honey, who cares what the hell that bitch thinks?
Super true.
That's great advice.
Okay, do you want to read the last one?
Yes. Hey, Amy, Jack, and Peppermint. So, getting straight into it, 2020 started with my girlfriend of 2 years breaking up with me for my friend.
Oh no.
I was so determined never to date again. Hello. Good idea. Maybe that's not true. Right?
Yeah, great idea. Try it.
Or at least for a long time. Okay. So then Miss Rona happened, which is horrible for the world, but it did help me in my quest for self-growth. And I spent every day basically for 6 months working on myself. That's very good. And finding happiness and all that shit again. Okay. Cute. So then for shits and giggles, I downloaded Tinder. Honestly, only because I wanted to make friends and have people to talk to. Okay. So I go on there, and since my town is super small, it was only 2 swipes left, and I was out of options. Oh, damn. Okay. So I made the settings international. Okay, that sounds like there's no middle ground there.
Yeah, what?
It's either my tiny town or the world.
Oh, international.
This was kind of the perfect case scenario because then I would like never need to meet these people. Okay. Protection, I guess. I matched with this girl in Brazil, and we started talking, and it was super fun. And we had a lot in common. And she was teaching me Portuguese, and I was helping her with English, and it was just supernatural combos. Then we started FaceTiming and getting closer. And well, fuck, y'all. I bought a plane ticket to Brazil for next year.
Whoa.
We talk every day and every night on FaceTime, and I am falling in love.
Whoa.
Is this actually absurd? I'm completely crazy am I completely crazy for doing this? Also, she hates America, just like me. Okay, nope, can't blame me there. So she's trying to convince me to move to Brazil, and I'm kind of down for it. So I guess my big question is it crazy to fall in love with this girl strictly via online, talking via FaceTime? Am I insane for buying a plane ticket? Or should I not be looking at apartments in Rio? Or is this just a super cute thing?
Wow.
This seems like the lesbian experience. This is how like
Really?
lesbians back in the day on Tumblr would meet and fall in love.
Tumblr?
So I think, yes, you know it. So I think that like buying a plane ticket is fine and good, but don't look at apartments just yet. Meet this person first.
Yeah. I think that's good advice.
I agree.
Right?
Great lesbian
Yeah.
advice from a lesbian.
Well, I know him.
Well, Peppermint, that was great advice. Thank you so much for coming on our show. Where can people find more of you and find your album?
People can find my album everywhere that you stream, probably the same place that you find some of your podcasts if it's a music service.
Mhm.
But of course, it's on iTunes and Apple Music and YouTube Music and Spotify and Amazon and all those good places. And the album comes out on the 16th. And people should pre-save now if they want to get some potential for free merch, because I'm giving out some free merch for people who screenshot their pre-save on any of the platforms and post it with the hashtag. You can visit my social media, Peppermint247, for more info.
Very cool. Thanks for listening. I'm Amy Oddman.
I'm Jack Dodge, and this is Dating Straight.
See you next Tuesday.
Broken-hearted lovers, you can help me